Brazil, a land of vibrant culture, stunning landscapes, and a hidden darkness. Today, we're venturing deep into the heart of this darkness to unravel the chilling truth behind the PCC. The Primeiro Comando da Capital, or PCC, isn't just a gang. It's a sprawling criminal empire, its tentacles reaching far beyond prison walls. Drug trafficking, violence, fear. These are the hallmarks of their reign. In the sprawling urban landscape of Brazil, a shadowy network operates beyond the reach of law enforcement, exerting its influence through fear and violence. This is the Primeiro Comando da Capital, better known as the PCC, Brazil's largest and most powerful criminal organization. But who are the puppet masters behind the scenes? How did they rise to such infamy? And most importantly, can they ever be stopped? This is PCC Explained, Brazil's largest criminal organization. We'll expose their inner workings, their ruthless tactics, and the devastating impact they have on countless lives. Join us as we shed light on the shadows and ask the tough questions, because understanding the enemy is the first step to defeating them. From prison gang to criminal empire, the birth of the PCC. Our journey into the heart of the PCC begins in the late 1980s, deep within the unforgiving walls of Sao Paulo's prison system. These weren't exactly ideal breeding grounds for reform, but rather a pressure cooker of frustration and desperation. Inmates faced harsh conditions, overcrowding, and a lack of basic necessities. It was in this environment that a group of inmates, fed up with the status quo and yearning for some semblance of control over their lives, decided to band together. This unlikely alliance wasn't forged in a spirit of camaraderie, but rather out of a shared sense of desperation and a thirst for power. The exact details of the PCC's formation remain shrouded in some mystery, but it's believed to have been inspired by another prison gang, the Red Command, Comando Vermelho. They adopted the Red Command's slogan, peace, justice, freedom, but with a perhaps more cynical interpretation. This nascent group, the seed of what would become the PCC, was led by a man named Marcola. Marcola, a cunning and ruthless individual, quickly rose to prominence within the group. He recognized the potential for the organization to transcend the confines of prison life and evolve into something far more powerful. Under his leadership, the PCC began to develop a more sophisticated structure, establishing a hierarchy and communication channels that would allow them to operate beyond the prison walls. Beyond the walls, the PCC's expansion and methods. The PCC, under Marcola's iron fist, transformed from a prison gang into a well-oiled criminal machine that stretched its tentacles far beyond the prison walls. Drug trafficking became a major source of revenue, with the PCC establishing a stranglehold on cocaine and marijuana routes within Brazil. They didn't just muscle their way in. They employed cunning strategies to establish themselves as reliable suppliers, forging connections with international cartels and utilizing innovative smuggling techniques. This illicit trade became the lifeblood of the PCC, funneling billions of dollars into their coffers and fueling their expansion. But the PCC wasn't a one-trick pony. Weapons trafficking became another lucrative business venture. By establishing connections with international arms dealers and corrupt officials, they ensured a steady supply of firearms, further solidifying their dominance in the criminal underworld. These weapons weren't just for show. They were used to intimidate rivals, silence dissenters, and carry out brutal attacks that sent a chilling message throughout Brazil. The PCC's power wasn't built solely on brute force, though violence remained a potent tool in their arsenal. They understood the importance of control and wielded it with a chilling efficiency. A complex communication network, facilitated by a web of smuggled cell phones, allowed them to coordinate operations from within the prison walls. These celulares, as they're called in Portuguese, became the PCC's digital nerve center, enabling them to maintain control over their vast network of lieutenants, drug mules, and enforcers on the streets. Intimidation tactics were another key component of the PCC's control strategy. They used a combination of threats, violence, and even public executions to ensure loyalty and silence from both within their ranks and from the general population. Those who dared to cross the PCC faced swift and brutal retribution, creating a climate of fear that kept many in check. Prison riots also became a chilling display of the PCC's power. These meticulously planned and often highly coordinated outbreaks of violence served as a message to anyone who dared to oppose them, showcasing the PCC's reach and ruthless efficiency. More than drugs and violence, the wide reach of the PCC. The PCC's influence stretches far beyond the bloody headlines of drug trafficking and gang violence. They've woven themselves into the fabric of Brazilian society, exploiting vulnerabilities and wielding a sophisticated form of control that extends far beyond the criminal underworld. One way they've achieved this is through extortion. Businesses, from mom-and-pop shops to major corporations, are often forced to pay a protection fee to the PCC. This ensures smooth operations for the business owner, but in reality, it lines the PCC's pockets and strengthens their grip on the local economy. Failure to comply with these demands can result in vandalism, violence, or even targeted attacks, making the choice for many business owners a terrifying one. The PCC's reach also extends into the slums, or favelas, of Brazil's major cities. In these impoverished communities, where the government's presence is often weak, the PCC can sometimes act as a de facto authority. They may offer a twisted form of security or even a rudimentary justice system, all while maintaining control through intimidation and violence. This creates a complex situation where residents may be fearful of the PCC, yet reliant on them for a semblance of order in a chaotic environment. The PCC's ambition doesn't stop at national borders. They've established connections with international criminal organizations, forging alliances that allow them to smuggle drugs and weapons across vast distances. This cooperation strengthens their position on the global criminal stage and allows them to diversify their income streams. Dismantling the PCC is a monumental task. Their complex structure, with a network of lieutenants, informants, and enforcers spread throughout Brazil, makes them a formidable foe. Additionally, the climate of fear they've cultivated discourages people from coming forward with information, making it difficult for law enforcement to infiltrate their ranks. The fight against the PCC is an ongoing battle, and while law enforcement agencies continue to make arrests and seize assets, the PCC remains a significant threat to Brazil's security and stability. A stark reminder: the roots of crime in Brazil. The story of the PCC isn't just a tale of a ruthless criminal organization. It's a stark reminder of the complex problems plaguing Brazil. The PCC's rise to power can't be viewed in isolation. It's a symptom of a deeper societal illness. One of the key factors is social inequality. Brazil grapples with a vast wealth gap, leaving many citizens mired in poverty with limited opportunities for upward mobility. This lack of hope and economic desperation creates fertile ground for criminal organizations like the PCC to exploit. Young people, with few options for a better future, may be lured by the promise of quick money and a sense of belonging that the PCC offers, even if it comes at a terrible cost. Another factor is the strained prison system. Overcrowding, violence, and a lack of rehabilitation programs create a breeding ground for criminal activity. Inmates like those who formed the PCC are often further radicalized within the prison walls, emerging even more dangerous and entrenched in criminal networks. The PCC's story highlights the need for a multi-pronged approach. Law enforcement efforts are crucial to disrupt their operations and bring them to justice. However, a long-term solution requires addressing the root causes of crime. This means investing in social programs that provide opportunities for education, employment, and a brighter future for disadvantaged youth. It also means reforming the prison system, focusing on rehabilitation and reintegration rather than simply punishment. By tackling these issues head-on, Brazil can begin to dismantle the foundation upon which the PCC was built. Only then can they create a society where organizations like the PCC no longer have fertile ground to grow, and where hope and opportunity prevail over violence and despair. The story of the PCC is a stark reminder of the complex problems plaguing Brazil, from social inequality to a strained prison system. Their rise to power highlights the need for social reform and improved prison conditions. Perhaps by addressing the root causes of crime, we can create a future where organizations like the PCC no longer have fertile ground to grow. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the PCC. If you enjoyed this exploration of Brazil's criminal underworld, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more true crime content. Until next time, stay safe out there. And remember, even the darkest corners can hold surprising truths.